Hey, what is up, everyone? It's Rich. All right, welcome to 10 Minutes with. This was a request from last week, and for a long time I've been meaning to do a video on Andy Braz. He's really, really good, and I used to get a lot of requests for him. I haven't as much lately, but let's get right into this because we've only got 10 minutes. All right, so this is awesome. Andy, I'm sure most of you know his work. He got real popular on DeviantArt. I mean, he probably got popular other places, but the first time I saw his work was on DeviantArt, and then he moved over to Instagram a few years ago. But he immediately, I mean, really, really quickly shot up to like 100,000 followers. And rightfully so. It's interesting. There was an artist that worked at Wildstorm named Robert Teranishi, and although Teranishi didn't ultimately end up drawing as detailed as Andy, they have some structural similarities, but I don't know if you'd be able to tell if unless you had seen Teranishi's stuff back in the day. This is cool. He's got a Patreon too. I'll try to look it up and like link to it because you guys might want to check that out. But it's really interesting stuff. It's always got a lot of texture, a lot of detail, a lot of hatching. You know, things that people generally respond to quite well. It's funny seeing this because I mean I drew a lot of skulls in like my black drawing pieces, and as detailed as this is, I actually render more. Like this would be my first passive lines, and then I would do maybe one or two more things. But Andy's work overall is seems to me to be more detailed than what I would normally do. But this is cool. I don't know. Oh, I thought this was. I thought he had a micron and a toothpick, and I was like, wow, is he ink with two things at once? That explains it. No, I'm just kidding. All right, let's continue. Ooh, look at this. This is cool. I don't remember this piece. Man, that is awesome. He should have a coffee table book. He needs to do that. And I mean, apparently based on these photos, I mean, it looks like he inks the stuff with microns, which is you know, a popular tool with people that are learning. It's not super expensive, and there's a comfort level for people that maybe are a little intimidated by crowquills and brushes to use a micron. So it's cool when you see someone who's really, really good using them. This is an old piece from him. I mean, some of these maybe also, but this is from quite a while back. Yeah, it's really cool. This stuff is neat. I don't know if he's ever done a comic book story or if he mainly sticks to cover and like illustration type pieces. I don't think I've seen sequentials from him. Would be time consuming to do. Trust me. Um, but you know, oh, yeah, that's really cool. Oh, look at this. That's neat. I like the shaded pencil look. Yeah, that's really cool. I've never met Andy. The funny thing is I mentioned this to the person that recommended Andy for the video. Is when I first found his work on DeviantArt, he didn't have a ton of followers. I mean, he definitely was building a following. But I actually reached out to him and just said hi, and I go, hey, I think your stuff is really, really cool. You know, stick to it. And I mean, I'm not trust me, I'm not taking credit for anything that he's doing. I'm just saying that I noticed his work and wanted to give him, a little bit of, hey, you're doing kick-ass shit. Just stick to it, and believe me, the people will line up for it. And you know, of course they did because this stuff is really cool. There's a few other artists that you might like if you like this. There's an artist that goes by Hyper Mirage on uh, Instagram that does real detailed pen and ink stuff, and Chris Stevens I think does stuff like this. He uses other mediums too, but I mean Chris definitely goes in and does the like psycho rendering stuff. This is really really detailed, man. This is a lot of work. That's what I'm saying is like everything is ornate in here. Like you've got rendering in here, you've got rendering on this, you've got rendering on this. It just really travels throughout. So this would be very very time consuming to do. But you know, when you work in a style like this, it's, I mean, you know, going into it that your pieces take a long time. You don't sit down and think you're gonna knock something out in like, you know, 8 hours. I mean, I guess you could, but I mean, pieces this detailed for me would probably take I don't know, 20, probably close to 30 hours if I was gonna guess. I didn't really monitor time too closely, but I kind of felt like the most detailed single 11 by 17 pieces I did took like 30 hours. I had two black drawings that took almost 200 hours a piece, but they were bigger and more detailed. This is cool. But I mean, you know, how many pieces are you going to do that take 300 hours? You better be making a small fortune on the originals, and since I don't sell the originals, this is really cool. Man, this is great. I always liked when Bernie Wrightson would do this, the dotted effect, where you render. It looks to me like these. No, they do look rendered. It's like Wrightson would just keep tightening up his rendering until the white lines would just sort of show up. And it kind of looks like the same technique. Maybe a thicker pen. You can see how it hops from like a dark value to the dotted thing here. A thicker pen, you could do the hatches and then keep the little white things in here. This is a classic piece from him. This is an oldie too. This is from a long time ago. I mean, I would have to revisit his DeviantArt gallery to remember what the first pieces that were. I'm sure I saved them because I save everything. So anything that I find interesting, I always will probably try to save a JPEG of it if I can. I never go back and look at this stuff. That's why I do these videos. But the pack rat in me, my inner pack rat, likes to save stuff. But yeah, I'm not good at going back and revisiting it. I always think someday I will, but I just never have time. This is again exactly what these videos are about. Love the stuff that he did on the hands here, but yeah, this is great. Man, that's really cool. Okay, let's continue. Ooh, monsters! I like these monsters. That is really cool. Man, that's creepy. Sorry, I've got a friend texting me. I had asked him a couple of questions about something. We're doing some reverse engineering on a piece of art that I saw. It's a swipe, and I know it's a swipe, but I can't. I was trying to place what it was, so he's really good at nailing stuff down. So we're just, it's like nerdy fan stuff. But I'm like, oh, I know this is a swipe. What is it from? You tell me. It has nothing to do with Andy, to be clear. This is something totally different. Man, this is so kick-ass. This is really, really good. The face on that drawing is just so badass. Look at this line over here too. This is really cool. Man, that's great. So yeah, when I saw this request, I didn't forget. I told you I would do it. I was on a manga trip. Not really. It was like, I saw a theme sort of starting, and I was like, ooh, that'll be fun. This week we're going to do illustrators. So I've got another one. I'm shooting this on Sunday just because I've got a lot to do tomorrow. Yeah, this week is going to be all people that do like illustration and like concept art. They could be a cover artist too. In fact, I'll do Chris Stevens also. Why not? Because Chris is really good, and most people know his work. Most artists, if you've got 100 or 200,000 followers, you've got just about every comic fan that's kind of like out there searching for stuff has found you. There's kind of a cap to it. I mean, you can see it with McFarlane and people like that. They get up to like 300,000-400,000, but they do it because they cover a little bit more ground. To get to 1 million, you really have to be doing stuff that's not comic related, but you can still be an illustrator, but it's very difficult to squeak your following up that high just doing pure comic stuff, American comics. So we've got about a minute left. Tick tock, tick tock. If this gets 100 likes, I'll consider doing a longer video on Andy. I mean, that's basically how it's going to go from here on out, is if you hit the like button, then I'll take a video seriously and feel that it's worthwhile doing it. If it doesn't do well, then it's just, we'll move along. So, you know, let me know. Let me know. Yeah, this stuff is awesome, and I mentioned to the person that requested this is that I mean it's I'm planning on bringing on more guests since I'm done with Crystal Planet now, and it's not like I have more free time, but I'm spending my time differently, which is investing into YouTube, Patreon, and then my own creator-owned book. But I'll ask Andy at some point. I'll reach out to him and see if he would ever want to come on and just do an interview. He doesn't have to be on camera, but we could do an audio interview and just sort of look through art. So we'll see if, you know, there's a whole bunch of people that I wanted to sort of ask and see if they would like to come on and just talk shop. You know, my channel is about art. I don't really go any other direction with it, so it's a safe zone for anyone. This is cool. It's kind of like the like warrior alien sort of structure. I mean, it probably is a warrior alien. Maybe not. It's got a little more stuff on it, but man, it's really cool. Sean Parsons and Matt Broom were doing some stuff that kind of looked like this on X-Men Wildcats. So we'll go. We've just got a few more pieces open. I'll look at the last few. We may go a minute or two over, but it's not a big deal. So it's interesting. This looks like a click pencil, but he gets a pretty sharp tip on it. So I'm assuming that maybe it is a drafting pencil. And this is the more of that Hellboy piece. I think it was the same one. All the flowers. That's a lot of work. So this was fun. Switching gears. This is another classic. That's, you know, and look, that's an important thing. So Andy's not only good, but I'll say this too is Andy has what I would consider iconic pieces in his canon, meaning that he's done memorable pieces, and when you see them, it reminds you of, oh yeah, I remember when I first saw this, or the time and place, and it's a really important characteristic to have in your art, which is that people will have favorites, like you know, like they're emotionally connected to pieces. So it's something to consider. This is a great piece. I remember when he did this. But yeah, that's a really important trait. Is you don't want to be putting out a bunch of pieces that are all kind of like they're good, but nothing stands out above the rest. You want like, you know, like someone to go like, man, your Daredevil piece is the best, and then they see, you know, a Lobo piece that you do, and they're like, oh man, now I love the Lobo piece the best. I don't know which I love the best. They're all so cool. I don't remember ever seeing inks on this piece. I don't know if he finished it. We'll see if it pops up in here. This is cool. I should do Dustin Weaver too. A friend of mine, Dustin. Dustin draws really detailed stuff. Maybe this will be Detail Week. Crazy Detail Week. It's a theme. I'm always on to like themes. I don't know why. Maybe it kind of dumbs things down when you have to pick stuff. It's like, I'll do detailed stuff this week. Then you've immediately narrowed down your options. This is pretty cool. His paper looks like it might be rough board. There's a little bit of texture on this. I would have thought it would be smooth, but I don't know if I'm just tripping. But it looks like it's like a pretty toothy artboard. Toothy. I don't remember this piece. I kind of grabbed from the middle of his Instagram gallery and just grabbed like a stack of pieces. This is cool though. And jacket reminds me a little bit of like old Tim Bradstreet stuff. Oh, this is cool. Yeah, that's really neat. Oh yeah. Look at that. Scary cherub. Very rendered. Ooh, look at that. That is cool. That is really nice. I like this little area right here. This like lip on the sort of whatever cartilage or whatever, and then how these come from underneath it. It's a nice touch. Nice touch. This right here too is really good. Smooth. Smooth pencils. This is nice. I've always found it like when you're gonna draw as detailed as Andy does, there is a benefit to going in and doing fairly tight pencils. Is it helps you to control the values on your final piece when you ink it. Because if you kind of go in and try to do finishes, it could be a little risky, a little bit. So I think him going in so tight, I mean, it makes sense. I'm sure he could go in looser too, but you kind of want to know where your value ranges are going to sit. Make sure that you've got a composition that like reads well with the eye. All right, so this is the Batman piece, the left side, and again, this is quite an old piece from him. All right, so Andy BRASE, really great. I'll have a link to Andy's Instagram and also his Patreon if he still has it up, and definitely follow him. I'm sure everyone is, or most people will be, but if not, who knows? Maybe we'll get him a few more followers. And Andy, if you ever see this, your work is awesome, and just keep kicking ass. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Tomorrow, more crazy detailed art. I'm excited to do this artist too, so it'll be fun. All right, later.